Hi everyone. Hope you can hear me. No echo. Okay. So hopefully I'm just going to wait for everyone who was on the original live stream to find this one. So I am just going to do some chit chatting until people can jump on. Hopefully we're okay. If anyone can jump on and give me a thumbs up. But anyway, all right. I'm sorry if I'm looking at my computer and not you, but yeah, still new to this. So today I was getting a really good urge to talk about relationships. So this actually can apply to romantic relationships, especially to romantic relationships, but also to any other relationship. So because it's such a big area of our lives, it's a really good one to know how to fix up and work. And it's such a powerful area that gives us so much joy and satisfaction and happiness that we really need to be able to get this right, if we're going to evolve as a species and stuff. This is a big area for us to be able to get good at and pass on to our kids and etc etc. So relationships. So I just want to reiterate that all of our tools are really interactive with each other and with any area in life. So I will talk about things, and you'll hear me talk about these things again and again. But they can be applied to anything. Okay, so here we go. So the most important thing is, why do we have relationships? Like, what are they for? Some of these questions might seem a bit basic or silly, but you'll see why I'm asking them in a second. So, um, they are actually, we might sort of say, oh, relationships are, so we don't feel lonely, so we kind of get the best out of ourselves, or so we can have fun and, yeah, have children or have friends and whatever. Okay. So, actually, if you think about relationships as amplifications of yourself, they make everything bigger. They make everything closer. They make everything more real. Because if it's just you around, how do you really kind of know who you are? You don't. You really need the other person to kind of give you a relay, a feedback system. Okay. So they're our biggest area of growth. And so, like I was saying before, it's important to get them right. Okay. So we often go into a relationship with like I want a boyfriend or I want a girlfriend, and I'll be able to have, some company, and I'll be able to do loads of fun things with them, and we can obviously have intimacy, and there's a load of whole reasons that we go into relationships, and it's usually focused on what we can get from them, not what we can give to them. So this is our first thing that we kind of really want to review, and it will really help us refrain from going into a relationship until we are ready. And by that I mean until we are healed, we're clear why we're going into this relationship, we're balanced, we're in a good place, and we are able to offer the best of ourselves. Because relationships can get really tricky, they can get hard, they can be very challenging, so we really want to be coming at them from our best self. And the way we have our best self is when we know us, we know what works for us, we know what sets us off, what triggers us, we know how to get the best out of ourselves and how to fix ourselves up. That is a really great space to go into a relationship from. And if we can think of things like that, and we've all been in relationships or gone into them when we haven't maybe been our best selves. So, and if you're in one right now, it's not like you have to end it and then find another one. You can actually fix yourself up and get yourself in a very healthy relationship place, just by doing some really relatively quick and easy tools to yourself. So we often go into relationships for what I like to call the 3 C's: comfort, company, and kids. Um, but that can obviously backfire. And the worst thing is to go into a relationship or holding onto a relationship because of kids, or because you're expecting a kid. Now, I know that life isn't easy or simple, and it's never straightforward, and it's not as easy as that sometimes. However, if you can really sit down with some of the things I'm going to share with you today, I think you will realize this is absolutely in your best interest to follow this sort of maybe perspective. And it's absolutely in the best interest for your children and the people you may be getting involved with. So let's go for it and see how you feel at the end. And then if anyone has any like issues about what I've said or questions, then please get in touch and I'll go through it and address it. So the thing is, if you go into a relationship with what can I give to this person, then yay, we've got someone on. Sorry, might have been a bit hard to find. Anyway, so if we can go into a relationship with what can I give to this person, you're going in full of what we like to call equal energy exchange. You give and then you get. And this is the way the universe works. It's an equal energy system. What you put in, you get back out again. Karma, if you want to look at it like that. But that's not quite accurate. But definitely, if you know what you get in, you will hopefully get it. You will definitely get out. In fact, even if it's not from that other person, you'll get out of it from life, from experience, from knowledge, and things like that. So I'm looking at my notes to make sure I don't, go off course today. So if you don't get back, if you are being the best you can be, you're in a good place, you haven't brought too much emotional baggage or any into a relationship, and you're not quite getting back after, I would say, 3 months. This might sound a bit harsh. I would seriously look at why you're into that relationship. If you're not being satisfied and fulfilled emotionally, why are you there? Really have a look at it. And if you find that you're already falling into the, oh, but I don't want to be lonely, any lack concept. I don't want to be lonely. I don't want to be alone. I have more fun with this person, or I feel like I'm boring without someone. Something like that. Anything in a lack perspective, you're going to hit this bump later on, and it could be hard. Fix it up now. So, if there is any abuse of any kind in the relationship, get out now. That's that. You are not in a place. You are not a punch bag. You're not a rag doll, and you have no right to do that to the other person. Get out the relationship, fix yourself up, let them fix themselves up, and then maybe you can talk again. If there's any abuse, get out. Simple as that. Okay. Getting over the past or fixing up current relationships. So, understanding ends pain. We also say where understanding exists, pain cannot. Once you get what's going on, once you get the real problems, once you understand how to fix them, happy relationship, okay? Really, it can be like that. It can certainly be, and this even applies to the relationship with you, okay? The internal relationship. So we have a lot of tools that are really excellent at applying to relationships. And you'll often hear me say something like key concepts, or if you see Casey, so there is the notes I've made today for this live stream, I will attach to the, when we repost this live stream, and you can find it later. There will be this download that you can have a look at as well, and a guide, and keep coming back to, and use it as a form of relationship coach. I am going to say it's obviously your responsibility to work on your relationships, decide if they're healthy for you or not, and do the work in them. So as much as I want to help people, I'm going to use the disclaimer that, this is down to you and your wisdom to apply this knowledge to your situation. Okay. So first one, key concepts, all of them can be found on our website, 5djourney.org/key concepts, and that is also in the notes that we've got today. So first of all, make or break. Are you going to let this situation make you or break you? Are you going to decide to take the bull by the horns and take action and learn how to fix this up, or are you just going to carry on moaning and putting up with and not really doing anything about it? In which case, seriously look at your priorities and your resources. Time is the most precious thing you have, and you can't get back yesterday. So I would suggest you have a look at that. And can you be accountable? So looking at, what went wrong in the past, can you be accountable that you were half of that relationship and you let it carry on, if nothing else? So being able to look at, where the responsibility lay, as well will go help you get a long way in maybe fixing up any pain that's still left from a leftover relationship. So, what were your assumptions going into the relationship? Did you kind of have this? Were you living in fantasy a little bit? Oh, it's going to be amazing. We're going to do this. We're going to be in love, and it's just going to be just fantastic all the time. Or what were your expectations? Did they change? Did they get a little bit me? Did you honest? Because I don't know if I actually have gone. Yeah, maybe I did. Go into some relationships, going, oh, I definitely went in thinking I want to be a great girlfriend, but maybe that's about as far as it went, and the rest of it was just, yeah, I'm gonna sign up and see how where this goes. Really, maybe I wasn't thinking about amplifying me, learning about me, and having that at the forefront of my mind. Anyway, later, what were the disappointments? What changed? When did they change? What happened? What happened? Was it actually ideal to stay together? We hold on to these relationships when actually they're not healthy. They're not healthy. They aren't taking us where we actually ideally want to go. And, it's kind of like try a few relationships on before you settle for somebody. And I don't mean settle like that, before you choose somebody for life, if that's what you want. We kind of do get caught up with this sort of romance. It's not very sensible. I had a saying, I think I still do have this saying: let your head choose them and let your heart love them. Because if your heart chooses them, it can love anyone if it chooses. But are they sensible? Are they a good match for you? And actually, when the heart is kind of like, when it's been loving for a long time, the head can get stronger and stronger and say, no, still don't like this. This is now an even bigger issue than it was before. I should have listened to my, ego or judgment. And actually, this is one of the first times I'll say, no, it's wisdom. You have to listen to wisdom. The ego wants to protect you, and it might want to kind of raise some issues with that person that maybe you should have taken notice of, and maybe you haven't. So let's just say there was a little voice of wisdom that maybe were trying to highlight things for you that maybe you didn't see. I like to call it red flags. And I know a lot of people who will, go into a relationship and the red flags are kind of being waved and they're like, no, I can't see it. And I also have a saying that within 3 weeks of a relationship, you will often see the reason why you either stay or leave. And I can honestly say that applied to every single one of my relationships, including my husband. So that was a good sign. Anyway, let's go back to the list. What were the shoulds? What shoulds did you put on yourself? I should have stayed longer. I shouldn't have taken that job. I should have done this. I should have done that. They should have done this. They should have done that, or shouldn'ts. These are big. These are really going to help you see where the issues lie. What baggage either side was brought into the relationship. And you can't fix someone else, but you can certainly, and you really need to be able to fix yourself if you know how. And this is where hopefully we will give you some tools so you will know how. What gifts did you take from it? Are you able to say, looking back on it now, I see la 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 la, and you've got the learnings, you've got the gifts, or are you still in pain? There have been people who've been in pain for years after they left a relationship because they couldn't quite get their head around it. And as soon as they did take the gift, it was gone. It was released. It was back to being a happy person again. So make sure you're getting the gifts from all your past relationships. Get the gift now to end the pain. What healings were the other person pushing up for you? What buttons were they pressing? What amazing characteristics were they causing you to step up into that you maybe didn't see at the time, but you can see now? A lot of the time, especially with the relationships that are abusive, they are pushing you to stand up for yourself, pushing you to know your own strength, pushing you to say, no, you cannot treat somebody like that, and let other people see that. So I'm just going to check in with the comments because I want to make sure I don't miss anyone's comments. So right, so getting confused about which one, head or heart, to listen to. So again, I've said this message before. This is about the ultimate union of head and heart. Knowing, there's a little bit like that little prayer that says, and I might get this wrong, something about thank you for letting me know what battles I can win, what battles I shouldn't take up, and the difference to know. I've really messed that up. I think you know the one I mean, though. And it's really about being wise and wisdom with the heart. So I would say, yeah, let the head choose them, let the heart love them. What would you say about doing everything you possibly can so that if and when it ends, you know that you did all you could? So this is a really good one. This is about the key crazy 8, 6 human needs. And the 6 human needs are certainty or security, big one for women. This is really good to understand before you go into a relationship, whether you're a man or a woman. Women need security. They need to know what's going on. They need to know what people want, when they want it. They want to know what's going to happen before, during, and after. A woman likes to be prepared emotionally for stuff. Then you have variety. Variety is self-explanatory. Then you have significance, and this is a big one for the guys. They need to know they matter. They need to know that you chose them for them. They need to know they're the best. They need to know that what they do, they bring lots, masses of value to the relationship. They need to know they're loved, respected. They're important. Significance is massive for guys. Then you have love and connection, which is, we call it the same thing, love and connection. And this tends to be everybody's first, if not second, human need. Women tend to have sort of security and love and connection, and men will go for significance and love and connection. And these 4 are the needs of the ego. Okay. And then you get the last 2, which are the needs of the soul, and they are growth and contribution to others. If you're not growing in a relationship, you've got everything. You've got the certainty, you've got the variety, you've got the significance, you've got the love and the connection, but it's not going anywhere. It's not growing. You might find that it might take decades and it just peters out. It's not going anywhere. Or if it's just dull, you might decide that really on. It's just too dull, it's too boring. Or you might decide there's just no security here. It's on 1 minute, off the next. Everything's changing all the time. There's just nothing you can sort of, there's no stability there. Then it can be over. So 6 human needs is a really good one to know. And then if you have given your all to your partner to a 10, if you say, I gave it security, I gave it variety, I spiced things up, I was interesting, I wanted to do what they want to do as much as I encouraged them to do what I wanted to do, that sort of thing, discover new things together. The varieties are really good, and especially when you've been together a while. The connection, again, may be something that they're interested in. Pay attention to what they're interested in. Hopefully they'll do the same for you. And significance. It's like if you are undermining people, undervaluing people, if you are negating their feelings, if you are, not giving any respect to their wishes and things, that's really going to impact a relationship. So when this is actually how we recommend people, if they are like heading for divorce and they really want to sort of say, I need to give it one last try. We say, fill up the other person's needs to a 10, regardless of what they're giving you, for 3 months, solid. Put your heart and soul into it, and then you can, if you walk away because it's not being reciprocated, you've done your best. And that, I would say that's quite hard to do. 3 months is really hard to be constantly giving without expecting anything. And that's the key word, expectation. When you expect back, or when you say, surely I should be getting something back by now. Should is a dangerous word, one of our key concepts. If you go into this, literally, if you do this, you have to say, I'm going to give and I do not expect to receive. I do not expect anything. I'm just going to give for 3 months and see where I'm at the end of it. Then well, hats off to you. I mean, that is really ideal. But hopefully and I've known it to take as little as 2 weeks to turn a relationship around from divorce. 2 weeks and last. So, you know, and I find that that's what's helped me move on. But at the same time, what's kept me in a painful place for longer than necessary is not knowing whether you did enough. At the end of the day, with the negative emotions, the 6 negative emotions, and they are anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt, shock. Guilt, waste of energy, waste of time. Much better to say, okay, that's over now. What could I have done better? What were the red flags going into the relationship that I didn't look at? What were the learnings? What were the communications? If you're in a good place with that person, you could be friendly, or you are, still, maybe you're still in touch. You could say to them, would you tell me, you can have a real heart to heart. Would you tell me the things that I did that didn't work? And you may find after the painful periods ended, people can communicate more fairly as well. There's not so much hurt and pain behind their communication. So yeah, good luck with that one. Okay, so I'm going on to healing now. So how do you heal from pain of the past? So first of all, if you can put yourself in another person's shoes, so we have a key concept that says respect the other person's view of life, view of things. Especially if they brought in any emotional baggage to the relationship that you didn't know about, you knew about it too late, or you knew that they've had a traumatic childhood, for example, anything like that they were not in a position to heal themselves before they came into your relationship. Sad but true, that may have been something to do with it. Is it understandable? Is it forgivable? Is this worth fixing? Is this relationship worth fixing? What if that person could drop their pain? How would they change? So this is now I'm talking more about current relationships that you would like to fix. What if you could help them heal? What if you learned some tools that you could share with them, and you could heal yourselves at the same time together? Then how could your relationship look? Where could it go from there? Imagine a future where both you and your partner are completely emotionally healed. You decide you still want to be together. You still have lots of juice in the tank, as it were, that can, same interests, same connections, but it's just been piled on by a whole load of stress, everyday life, taking its toll, whatever. And imagine if you could heal. If that person can see that vision and also gain that ray of hope, because it is definitely possible. But again, don't put any expectations on it. There's a really fine line between living in fantasy and living in reality, and dreaming and daydreaming. Daydreaming is being open to the possibility of it getting fantastic, of it getting better, but not running away with that idea and then acting on it when actually the other person isn't following through, isn't seeing the same thing, isn't on the same page, doesn't want the same thing. This is where you have to really check in with yourself and say, am I living in fantasy, or am I daydreaming? Or am I just open to it? I see what it is, but I'm open to it getting much better. Okay, so with past relationships and trauma, what wisdom, if you need to heal from the pain, what wisdom can help you forgive? What wisdom can you use today? Number one, any negative harbored emotion is a waste of time, a waste of energy, and it is detrimental to your health. If it hasn't manifested physically, if bad enough, it could do. It's really important that you get on this and you're able to heal from this. Look at, say, could you do anything differently? What would that be? How can this help you for next time? And get the gift. This is our key phrase. This is our key I don't want to say it in French because I'll get the wrong accent or the wrong word. Reason d'être, I think it is. Reason for living. Get the gift. Reason for doing any of this work, ending the pain. Get the gift. How were they helping you? Were they helping you take your power back? Were they helping you find your power? How are they helping you learn about this whole situation? The thing is, as well, with relationships, you have to try them on and see what you like and what you don't like so that you know what you want. And that is a key. Know what you actually. I'm rushing on to the next section now, so I'll slow myself down. Yeah, pushing you to realize things you didn't know. Right. So there's a key concept. The most flexible behavior wins. If you are adamant you're going to stay in a certain way and trying to make a relationship work, I'm not holding out. And that's different from sticking to the things that really matter to you. So I'm going to talk about the next bit and then you'll see what I'm saying about that. So starting a new relationship, you've done your healing, you've done your learning from the past, or you're in a good place, you're ready to meet somebody else. First thing, know what you want, know what you need. Now, I say need kills love, but there are needs that you have as an individual that need to be met if you're going to have a successful relationship. And that means the type of person you're going to be with, what they're into, how they are, how they react to things, what qualities they bring into a relationship. And there's something I call deal breakers. So if you don't know your deal breakers, do not go into another relationship. This is so important. Before I met my husband, I did my deal breakers and I decided my 5 deal breakers were. And this means that if he wasn't one of these things, I had a list of 5. You can have more. But I think if the top 5 are not met, don't even go in there. Don't even start. You are just going to end up hurting further or feeling frustrated, or you'll spend 20 years together, have children, then go, you know what, we shouldn't have got married, we shouldn't have done it. So deal breakers are mine, to give you an example, were he had to be a good dad, he had to be the sort of person I thought would be a good father, he had to be kind, he had to be kind-hearted, he had to be open-minded, he had to be able to live with me and my interests and be okay with them. He had to be fun. We had to have fun. It had to be fun. And I had to trust him and respect him. So he had to be generous. That was it. Sorry, I was thinking that doesn't sound right, even though that was an important one. He had to be generous in his nature. He had to be, and that wasn't with money. It was with just his character. He had to be generous. And I'm so blessed to say that my husband has got all of those and more. And I feel extremely lucky, Mr. Howe, if you're watching. Anyway, so your deal breakers, how do you find out what your deal breakers are? This is fun. I really like doing this with people. It takes a little bit of time, but it is worth it. I promise you it's worth it. So what you do is you take an A4 piece of paper and you make 3 columns down this A4 piece of paper, portrait, okay, the long length, and you fill it full of characteristics and things you want in a relationship. You might say loving, fun, exciting, lots of traveling together, ability to go out a lot. He lives in this country. Look at your past relationships, pick all the things you didn't like, get the opposites of them, put them on the list, everything that mattered to you. If you list everything you think you want, eventually after about 20 or 30, you'll hit a dead end. You'll hit not a dead end, you'll hit a wall. I call it the wall. You'll hit the wall and you won't be able to think of anything else. Keep going. You might need a minute or 2 to bust through that, but then you'll think of something else and think, oh my God, why didn't I think of that? Because that's a really important one. And you'll do this 4 to 5 times. If you want this to work really well, you will be astonished at how you will have your top 5 come up after you've hit the wall 3 or even 4 times. So do this, and then what you do is you play a game with yourself that says, I can have one thing on this list, just one. So you take the first one, and let's say it's kindness, and the second one is fun. No, let's say it's, I don't want to make it a potential top 5. Let's say it's, we laugh a lot. We laugh a lot together. So you'll say, right, you can have kind or laugh a lot together. Which is more important to you? And you might be like, oh, God, that's really difficult. If I have to go for one, it will be kind. And then you go, okay, what's the third one on the list? And you will basically keep ticking off the one that's in the first position over every other one on the list. And it will take a little bit of time. It's actually quite fun to do. And once you've got, yep, this is definitely my top need, then do it again. Take another one and do the same thing until you've got your top 2, and keep doing it till you've got your top 5. If you want to shortcut this, do it at your peril. Do this, take the time. And if you want success, do not meet anybody. Do not go into a relationship with anybody that does not have your top 5. That's my advice. Anyway, so when you have got what you want, you can then set your intent. Okay, now setting your intent basically means you thank the universe for bringing them this person to you. It's out there, it's done. Think of it as writing a letter to Father Christmas. You write down all what you want and you send it on its way, and then you just wait for it to turn up. If you have to keep going back and adjusting your wish list, you've not done your deal breakers properly. You can add way more to your requirement list than your top 5. Just, I would not go into a relationship if they did not have my top 5. I just wouldn't do it. If you're younger and you can afford a little bit of time just to have a bit of fun with somebody you definitely know you're not going to be with, okay, but make sure you're very careful that the relationship doesn't incur things that will keep you tied to that person for a very long time against your wishes. Had you acted from wisdom a little bit earlier on. And that brings me to say, always think of the long term in mind over the short term gain. Long term is a much stronger, better, wiser place to be in over short term gain every single time. So what else have we got? Yeah, okay, manifest it. So you've found out what you want, you've sent it out to the world, and all you have to do is sit there and say, okay, I want, universe, are you listening? Here's what I want. Angels, listen up. I would love somebody to come into my life as a romantic partner. And you can do this with friends, business partners. You can do this with anyone. If you have a desire in some way, set your intent. In fact, do this for everything in life. Everything. If you want something, set your intent, which means know what you want, put it out into the universe. Say, universe, listen up. I'm putting in an order. I would love X, Y, Z. Thank you so much for bringing that to me. I can't wait. Off you go. Get on with it. With love. And also, I like to say, here, caveat, really important thing. If you are indecisive, if you find you have shortcut your deal breakers, in fact, I do this with everything anyway. And funnily enough, I did it once and then I noticed it working for everything. And I've just reiterated it. I don't actually need to do it anymore. But what I said was, thank you for whatever turns out being way better than I could have imagined. Way better than I could have asked for in every way. And that just is the final sort of like perfect coat to what you've asked for. And so often something will turn up that I've even just not even asked for. I've imagined it. I've daydreamed about it. And it turns out I was like, that was good. I was expecting this and this turned up. Love it when that happens. It's great. Okay, next. Trust life to turn up what you've asked for. Sorry, my grammar's rubbish today. It's late. It's 8 o'clock. Trust life. And if something turns up and you go, Didn't set my intent properly, did I? Just reset it. And so ask again and then send it out to the universe, let it come back to you. Okay. Super you. If you are newly refocused and committed to a new relationship, but you are a bit concerned about breaking old bad habits, old baggage resurfacing. If you've done our work, you really won't be in that position. You'll be in a fantastic place. And you'll also be in a really strong place where you'll know that you are whole as you are. You don't need another person to make you whole, ever. In fact, that's probably one of the most dangerous things you could think. You are whole and you can be happy on your own because you are the provider of your happiness, no one else. And when you're in a relationship, they are still not the provider of your happiness, even though they do things to make you happy. You are the person that says, you're like a relay system. I like what you've done. I'm smiling. I like what you've done. I'm smiling. I like what you've done. I'm smiling. But if you don't like what somebody's doing, power is down to you. And that's because you have maybe laid shoulds, expectations, you've made assumptions perhaps. So, anyway, going back to super you, if you want to know the best way of going into a new relationship, go in with super you, hide behind super you, go and push super you into the relationship first. What do I mean by that? Super you is one of our most powerful tools. It's fantastic. You can tell this to kids. You can get this in a second. It's kind of what it says on the tin. Super you is the most amazing version of you can imagine. And I just want you to sit there for a second and imagine what they look like. What's the expression on their face? What's their general demeanor, their general energy? Are they vibing on life? Are they happy where they are? Or are they kind of like, remember, this is the most amazing version of you can possibly imagine. How would they be going into a new relationship? They would be eyes wide open, heart wide open, but they'd maybe proceed with caution. Don't rush to impress. Don't play games. They would be their authentic self. Because at the end of the day, if you meet somebody and you're not being your authentic self, then who are they falling in love with? So, if you can catch yourself doing old habits or old behaviors or thinking negative thoughts, stop. That's the biggest thing. Catch yourself in the act, stop doing it and go, what would super you do? What does super you have to say about this? How can I use super me as my best coach, counselor, guide ever? Because they absolutely are, which is why it's really good for you to develop this skill, develop this tool. Okay. So make checking into super you your absolute best habit. Do it daily, multiple times a day. All right. So commit to being the best you every day. Set your intent. If you can wake up in the morning and just before you get out of bed, say, thank you for an amazing day. Thank you for me being an amazing partner. Thank you for me having a really good, fun day. I mean, just saying that would be great. What could come from that, If you set your intent every day with your relationship, watch how it can change, watch how it can soar, watch how it can improve. And don't always, please try not to put the wish on the other person making the change. Put it on yourself because that's where you have the power. Thank you for me being brilliant in this relationship today. Maybe that means being softer, more forgiving, lightening up. I have a very funny story about that. I'll tell you the story. I was sitting in my kitchen one day and I have particular beliefs, shall we say, particular ideas about spirits that help me. And I asked one of them. He's very, very famous. People who know me very well will know who I'm talking about. He was very, very, very famous when he died. He died under sad stroke, suspicious circumstances. But I asked for some good advice from like somebody who's really got my best interests at heart. And I asked for some advice mainly around sort of my children and my family life. And I saw this person's face, and I was like, wow, it's all happened very, very quickly. And this person was a man, and he said, well, you could lighten up a little. And I started laughing and crying at the same time because it was the most perfect bit of advice they could have ever given me. Anyone could have ever given me. And it absolutely worked. And I hold this advice very, very dear to this day. Look, I'm making it a habit. I'm almost crying on every live stream. Isn't that funny? Yeah. So where was I? Committing to being the best you every day. So take a little bit of without being too critical on yourself, because some people can be way too critical on themselves. So take some wise advice for yourself. Could you lighten up? Is it important to have this argument? Could you let it go? Will it be remembered in 10 years? Maybe that's a good one. Will this be remembered in 10 years? No, then let it go. Yes, then okay, and stand by your principles and your, ideas. Okay, so retrieving a near breaking point relationship. I am sorry, I feel like I've repeated myself a little bit. Okay, look at what the issues are. Invite the person to tell you honestly what's wrong, and you cannot negate what they're saying. You can't say, oh no, that's not true. You have to listen to every word they say and take it like it's absolute truth, because it is. And it is for them. Whether you see things slightly differently, then it doesn't matter. What matters is you're in a relationship with that person, and that's how they see things. So you need to be able to remember the key concept: the most flexible behavior wins. If you go, okay, I'm hearing you, what will fix these things for you? What will help you feel better about this? If you can lay your ego down and say, you're not needed right now, you're not going to help me, I need to really care about what this person's saying. If I care about them and I care about this relationship, I need to take what they're saying and absolutely act on it without punishing yourself, without criticizing yourself. That's not going to help you. Take their opinion about what's wrong, and you do the same. You give them your opinion. See if you can get some compromise. At least you can respect each other and say, this person is really trying to make this work. And hopefully, you'll do the same for them. If you want something, big one coming up. If you want something, give it first. Respect, time, consideration, a break. If you want them to give you a break, give them one. If you want something, equal energy exchange, remember, give it to get it. And don't expect to get it back, but at least if you do give it first, you're in a much better place for it, right? Right. Now, if you need something that's not on your deal breakers, that's not fundamental to the success of your relationship, but if you need something, if you need some considerate, I don't know, whatever it could be, just remember that need kills love. And what I mean by that is, if you need them to not go out with their friends so much, if you need them to pay you more attention, if you need them to be hard to think of things on the spot, but I think you know what I mean. If every time you have a need, you are conditioning the relationship to potentially fail, in terms of the more needs you have of the other partner, the harder it is for them to fill your idea of what a great partner is, what a great relationship is, and the more likely that relationship's got too much pressure on it and it will break down. If you just go into a relationship with somebody and think, you're amazing, I've seen you before I've met, before I got romantically involved with you, I knew who you were. I liked what I saw. I liked what I heard. I think you could be incredible for me. I hope and believe I could be incredible for you. And if you just went into it with this want to serve and make it work, rather than, oh, you've got really good connections, or you drive a really nice car, or whatever you think you can get out of a relationship, then you're going to have a lot less needs, because you're going to be more focused on giving anyway. Okay. See if you can compromise. Some of these sound pretty obvious. See if you can compromise. If you can't, try things out. Okay. Say, okay, we couldn't compromise here. So let's try something. Maybe it's not as bad as we think. And try your best. You might find it's not as bad as you think. You might find it actually is a good thing. If you're in that place to be open minded and prepared for change, you are going to reap rewards. So, if you are dealing with an addiction or like an anger issue or an anger management issue or something like that, you need to fix these up if the relationship stands a chance. So again, the crazy eight, linked with the six human needs and the six negative emotions. All of these tools are on our website, all of them, and they're all really quick and easy to learn. You might need to sort of go over them once or twice, but once you've got them, you'll be great at them. The crazy eight, or the other word we use is being triggered. When you feel out of control of anything, you get triggered. You fall into your crazy eight, and this is like an emotional loop that can go on forever. And the way most people unconsciously try and get out of this loop is they'll change their biochemistry, drink and drugs, or they'll change their environment. Go for a walk, go for a drive, go down the pub, go see a friend, whatever it is. But that is a short-term fix. They're all short-term fixes. The only way you can get out of your crazy eight, the only way you can stop being triggered is look at what your options are. And this is where the key concepts are incredible for this. Absolutely brilliant. They can literally just take one of them and it can pop a problem. This is why we like to sort of, get you to look at these first, because they're that powerful. So if somebody is struggling with an addiction, this is the biochemistry or environment effect to try and fix the crazy eight. It will not work. You must look at what that person feels out of control of. And this is something maybe where you press pause on a relationship, you let that person work and heal themselves. You can't do it for them. You can help them. You can't do it for them. It is not that bad to look at why people are in their crazy eight. You do not have to revisit the painful past. You just need to be able to try and get the gift. If you're not in a place to even get the gift, if you have too much pain for that, you need to realize it is only costing you your time, your energy, your happiness, and your health. And that will not change. That will actually get worse until you realize you need to look at this and you've suffered enough. Okay. Again, see it from the other person's perspective as much as possible, and then try harder again. This will be an ultra powerful way to reconnect a wilting relationship. Watch all the shoulds, the expectations and assumptions. These are the pitfalls. Get conscious about these. Find out what they are, and you'll be amazed at how you can relieve the relationship just by knowing these and how quickly you can recover. Keep the goal to communicate as open as possible. It's amazing how we sugarcoat things and we skirt around the issue, especially if you're getting close to what's really wrong. The ego will really scramble to try and cover it up and distract you, or throw you off guard, or throw you off the scent, I should say. Where are we at? I think we are really close. Right. Okay. Next bit, learning when to let go. So we kind of have this experience where we grow up as young and we kind of go, well, you meet somebody and it's happy ever after, or at least you hope for it to be like that. It's not always the best thing to have a relationship last forever, which I know that might sound, but it just isn't. We change so much, we grow so much, life changes so much. And sometimes it's just best to say, hey, it's done its job. It was a great time, and now it's time for something else. If your gut instinct says you need to go and you're afraid to, you are going to find that life will get stronger and stronger in this push for you to leave until you pay attention. Um, I Life is complicated. It's not simple. It can be, but that takes an awful lot of inner discipline and letting go of the ego, and then it becomes easy. But if you have children involved, it's tricky. If you're financially dependent on the other person, it's tricky. But this is sometimes where you have to just let go and let life catch you and trust. And yes, it might be hairy for a little bit, but the long term result is so, the long term gain can be so strong. It really can be worth doing it. So, but only you know. You have to follow your gut instinct, right? You have to know what you need to do and follow your gut instinct is going to be the best source for that. If you are wanting to stay together for the children, this again can be a pitfall, because the children growing up seeing a dysfunctional relationship just learn how to have a dysfunctional relationship. If you can still do the whole, mummy and daddy are want different things, and find that different things make us happy, we're going to be better and happier with each other, and for you guys apart, kids do adapt. You just have to be able to be so well healed in yourself that you can see and heal the children and make up for any changes that they're going to experience. But please don't. I absolutely, my heart goes out to people who are in these tricky situations, because I know it can be incredibly stressful and incredibly heartbreaking. But please do look at our website for the tools, because if you can change your perspective about it, the pain will fade. If you can get your kids to see a different perspective, theirs will too. It is as simple as that. Okay. Yep. So I'm basically just reading what I've already said and making sure that we're not missing anything good out. All right. So if you know that inside it's the end, celebrate. This is a new beginning. This is a new chapter. It's a new point of life, and it can be very exciting. And if you have done our work, if you've used our tools, you and the other person can actually do this incredibly easily, with very, very easy feelings between you, and you could even maybe have a beautiful friendship out of it. Get back into your power position, get back into your optimism. And now that's over, what could be next? What could be around the corner? Time for you, time to do what you've been wanting to do more of. Spend time with other people that you want to spend more time with, more quality time, all sorts of things. Look to the positive for sure. Okay, so what else do we have? Getting over grief. So, sadly, for some, their best friends leave this place and a person is left behind. This might sound, there is natural grief stages that we need to go through, and that can be done slower or quicker, depending on what the person wants to do and what aligns with their internal values and beliefs. However, if you find somebody is really grieving, or you're really grieving, and you really do want to move on and through this as quickly as possible, look to your emotions as as things that can be picked up, put into a little knapsack and put over there for a while. Because what you're focusing on is the lack. You're focusing on the loss, you're focusing on the lack, and you're focusing on the negative of the new change. And all of these things have their opposite. All of these things have a flip. It's simply a matter of you deciding you're going to focus on the other side of it. And that doesn't mean you love them any less. It doesn't mean you miss them any less, but it means that you have less pain about it. And I don't think anybody in their whole heart and wise mind would ever say that you need to hurt when something is gone. If you can always get into habit of remembering good things, when you think about them and you're missing them, remember the best times. Remember, you can relive those memories and they're again with you. I've said this story before. When my dad died, I saw him in my head. He died suddenly when I was 28, 29. And I saw him in my mind's eye that afternoon. And he's told me he was okay. And he came through the radio for 3 months. When I was driving my car, he would come through all the time, sending me songs. And I just knew they were for him. I can't explain how this knowing was so strong. The DJ might as well have said, "Hi, Nick, here's another song from your dad." And always the song was so spot on to help me with what I was feeling at the time. It was uncanny. We never had this relationship when he was alive. We've had more of an incredible relationship after he's died than in terms of incredible things happening, magical things happening, that sort of thing, than when he was alive. If somebody can be open-minded, there are many ways to contact an energy, safe ways. And best still, ask them for a sign. Ask them and only them to come through and give you a sign they're around you. Ask to see a white feather, ask to see a certain color a lot, or anything. These signs and syncs are absolutely real. You can call them into you. You can ask them to help solve problems. You can ask them to do so much. When the physical body ends, it is not the end. It is absolutely not the end. And when you leave your physical body and you realize this for fact, and if it takes you that long to find that out, that's fact, you'll say, all those years I wasted being sad and missing somebody when I could have had them with me, but just in a different way. Generally, though, the best way to heal the heart is to reconnect with things you love to do, people, places, hobbies, activities. Keep busy. A lot of these things are, common advice is very obvious, but it's the connection that will help massively. If you know somebody who has lost someone and you can help connect with them about anything, it will help. So hopefully emotions are, think of emotions this way on an ending note. Emotions are messages from your soul, like a traffic light system, to let you know if you're seeing things in your best, to serve you the best. The soul will give you a negative feeling if it says, don't go down this road, stop what you're thinking, change it, go in the opposite direction. If it's giving you a good thought, it's saying, great, keep going. Keep doing what you're doing great, keep going. If it's giving you anything of unease, it's like, oh no, this is not good. This is not going in the right direction for you. So if you think of grief being, I'm all alone, I'm never going to meet anybody else, my best friend's gone, I'm never going to replace them, etc., 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 and you've got grief, it's your soul's way of saying you're not seeing this right. You're not seeing it for the truth that it is. And then if you start to dare, because this could be lifelong ego habits that we have without realizing it. If you dare to say, okay, I'm going to pick myself up. I know they wouldn't have wanted me to hurt. I know they would want me to feel better. And I'm going to try and do that. And okay, I'm going to use this, these tools. And if you can just say emotions, okay, I have not lost. I have found something new in a different way. Let's explore that way. You can run with it. And you might find that magic comes into your life for the first time. That person can communicate and do things for you that they've never able to do when they were alive. And all of a sudden you go, it's different now. It's amazing now. And I can live with this now. And you can enjoy life again, which is definitely what the whole point is, right? So I'm going to wrap it up there. It's been an hour. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions or any questions, leave them in the comments. I will get through to them and get back to you. And lots of love. Hopefully come back for the next one. See you soon.